See? Yeah, Nick Knock, if you're not following Dapper DM, you definitely should.
All right, guys. I need to know if we're on the correct if we're on the correct stream now.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to like keep moving a little. Just
We're smooth on TikTok, smooth on the stream. At least that's what I think, right?
Uh-oh. I'm trying to find the YouTube stream. There we go. Okay, it's moving. Yeah.
We got our first time chatter on Twitch. Cal4! Shout out to Cal4 in the chat.
Hey! Cal 4 in the house.
All right. YouTube stream is clean. Okay, we're starting over, guys. Just we'll be back in like half a second, but we're starting over. Okay. Here we go.
Lap 2.
The life force of your bond, a power like life itself, unseen for generations, a dyad in the force.
All right, welcome to another episode of Dyad in the Force, Take 2, episode 189, the one about what Star Wars means to me. And Bloodlines. And why is that the title? Why is that the title? Because we got to sit down with Kati, or Katarina Cruz, a rising content creator on the TikToks and stuff. And we had fun talking about, how she got into Star Wars, what's her favorite projects. And we also spilled some water on her electronics, which hopefully everything is fine. Choco, how's it going?
Yep. It is going good. I'm doing the dead man walking. If you recall, last week I had made the decision to leave my job, so I snuck my 2-week notice in like a bandit by sending it in an email at like 3 a.m. on Monday morning before starting work. And then it turns out my manager is on vacation. Now they got the message. I've already done an exit interview, and I still have 2 weeks. I feel like that they're gonna stop me at some point in time, because like dead man walking is a weird look. It feels weird when you are you care less about like your metrics and stuff like that. It's not a good place to be.
Yeah, Nick Doc on the TikTok says Katarina is awesome. She was interested in being on my podcast too. Nick Doc, we gotta be on your podcast, man. Where are those invites?
It was
at?
like, Nick Doc's got a podcast. I mean, listen, I want to talk to everyone. I'm trying to get through everyone one at a time.
Dang,
I had a video I was
weird.
supposed to.
You trying to get through everybody?
I know. I just got 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Oh.
You know what that means.
He didn't just spell rapper with and leave out a P, did he? Also, shout out to VGC. Following on Twitch now, got the trifecta of streams working. So imagine VGC over on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. It's absolutely wonderful. We're going to try to expand our reach more and more with using this system. Thankfully, the technical difficulties did not last for too long. Also, shout out to Cal4, close friend of the channel, for being a Dyad Squad member for 38 months. It's 3 years, isn't it? More than 3 years.
That's more than 3 years. That's crazy. That's like, yeah, no, that's impressive. Most impressive. Abisto Frendo.
Brother. Yeah. hopefully, so another change that's happening to announce is that every Tuesday at 5, whether Choco wants to or not, I'm also bringing back Yoda's Hut on Twitch, which is essentially just us. It's just a just chatting segment on Tuesdays. And it's going to be different topics here and there. I think the first Yoda's Hut is going to be the sequel movies aren't trash. Change my mind. And we'll see if we can get some people to have some honest conversations,
Yeah, I'm glad you're bringing it back. I was like going to start doing something live on Tuesdays. Like that was my thought of like, you know what? There's a lot of people that do content by just doing a live and then like scrolling through Twitter or reading articles or stuff like that. And I thought, you know what? That's something we could do for Star Wars and at least keep up to date on news and things that are in the works and things that are upcoming. Those things might be able to be clipped and then, we can put them in more places and whatnot. So I don't know. It was a thought of mine. So yeah, I will be happy to join Yoda's Hut when I can. Again, I'll have a tad bit more time coming up soon here.
Yeah, it's Yoda's Hut's just gonna be a just chatting. Like I follow a lot of Pomodoro streamers. They have like study time, break time, and like they literally just stream them studying, and then when they're on break time, they just chat with the chat. I'm not gonna do Palms, but I'm just gonna just go live and chat with the chat. Yeah. I also need to increase my frequency of streams so that I can be a Twitch affiliate. I already have from like days gone. I already have like over 500 followers, but my last stream on Twitch was 10 years ago.
Oh, damn. Yeah. No, I did the same. Obviously, High Ground started on Twitch, and I was an affiliate. There wasn't even streaming on YouTube. Was there?
I think there was 10 years ago for sure, but like it was very, very like
it was wonky. It wasn't the same. Honestly, just having an icon that lets you know when the person whose video you're watching is streaming is massive.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're trying to expand our reach, try to reach new audiences no matter where they are. We could reach one new person on Twitch, several new people on YouTube. It doesn't really matter. Just being live somewhere enables them to see our content and kind of join this community of discourse, bringing back the conversations where we disagreed and kind of putting to rest this current era of how can you disagree with me, even though they complain a lot about like you can't not like things anymore. It's like equally you can't like things anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you like something, you're a Disney shill, but like we've never once really shilled for anything. Our conversations always include our criticisms. But today's era.
I will say though, I can kind of get it, mostly because if you scroll through our content, you're gonna see more good than bad, obviously, but that's just the nature of. Yeah, I'm gonna make a couple bad videos on it, and then mostly good, or I'll move on to something else that I do like.
Yeah, I've also
let's see.
I've also made it a point to kind of just be like. Also, some of my videos will just be talking about what happened in the episode instead of critical analysis. Like no matter how bad the episode is, personally, how I think about it, like I'm just going to talk about, okay, this is what happened. This character went here. They made this decision and they revealed this and the lore was updated this way. Like sometimes I just want to talk about what happened. you know, we're so concentrated on the critical reception, the critical analysis, that again, much like what happened with the Acolyte, much of what actually happened fell by the wayside.
Yeah.
Master Dukes Kenobi
you
says,
know-
I'd be keen to chat. Currently job hunting. Same.
Yeah.
On all fronts. I'm also keen to chat, and I'm also job hunting.
Well, so real quick, though, I wanted to bring. I mean, I think at least until Yoda's Hut comes out, it might be nice to talk about some of the things that will be popping off in Star Wars soon.
Yeah.
I was actually going to bring back those videos this month, and then got busy because birthday time and other stuff. Anyways,
Choco got busy because he wants to go through everybody.
you know, sometimes you gotta.
I wish
Anyways,
I had a downstream key of your OnlyFans video. I'm gonna search it down, download that, and download the No Memory video, and just have those as keys to play alongside. All
right, so dropping soon in 4 days, October 8th, we got a reference book, Star Wars: Secrets of the Clone Troopers.
Yes.
Do you have this? You have that pre-ordered? I mean, there's gonna be some solid nuggets in this book. I can already tell you that much.
I don't currently have it pre-ordered because you just told me about it, so therefore it'll be pre-ordered soon. I'm actually currently set to start The Glass Abyss, and that'll be our first Mace Windu book since Shatterpoint.
Yep,
This time
that's
it's
coming
canon.
out October 15th, and I feel like I'm supposed to get a copy. I've not gotten an early copy.
Did you not?
They reached out to me and asked me. And
Oh,
said,
I mean,
yeah. And
so
yeah.
I mean, I just got mine today. So like,
oh, okay.
It's not like
then
I've been
It'll probably be this.
I'm not
weekend.
MKBHD. It's like, I've been reading this book for the past 4 months, and shout out to Layers or Panels. Sorry.
I don't know. I'm not up to date on his videos.
Dang. I'm not gonna go into the details, but he released a wallpapers app called Panels, and it's like a $50 subscription a year, and everyone went hard on him. Anyways,
$50 a year isn't terrible, but come on, man.
but you need a subscription to download HD wallpapers. And it was kind of like the reverse of what he preached when he was like when he's reviewing other apps. But anyways, how's everyone liking Agatha so far? John Mark Kilpatrick asks. I haven't seen the latest
so
one.
far. The latest one I think is just the best one so far. I'm enjoying the show a lot. It's very unique. It's a breath of fresh air. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I don't. I feel weird saying this. Aubrey Plaza has never done it for me
What?
until this recent episode, and then I was like, huh.
Now, welcome to the club. Because I hadn't seen the latest one, but I did see an article, and the hero image was quite pleasant to see. And I can only imagine.
Why did you tell me she rose like this?
I've always known. And the last time we spoke about it, like you said, she didn't really do it for you. So I was like, okay. So I don't send links. I will watch the latest episode, but yeah, I've been largely enjoying it so far. I think it's a stark departure from like the more traditional Marvel stories we've been getting. I like this exploration into this more the witchcrafty side of Marvel, because that's not something that I'm like super deep into. Like the most witch I know of Marvel is Scarlet Witch, and so like knowing about this lore and learning about it, I'm like, oh, this is really cool.
I mean, I've never bothered learning Scarlet Witch lore because it changes so goddamn frequently. But sometimes she's in love with her brother, sometimes they're mutants, sometimes they're not. It's a whole weird thing. But yeah, no, the show's been really cool. Like you said, we're getting more detail on how magic works in Star Wars. Not Star Wars, in Marvel.
Things are blurring.
It's a very soft magic system, but it does have rules and interesting rules. And they address misconceptions that I just never thought of. You know, I actually never really thought of, I mean, back in old times, they were just straight up just burning women, just like it was crazy. But yeah, I am enjoying it. I think the writing's been really solid on it, and the character work.
Yeah, thank you for all the likes. By the way, we're up to 2,600 on the TikTok side or the clock side. If we get to 5,000 likes, Choco's Bulldog Fire Noodle Challenge will increase in difficulty.
Oh dang! What are we gonna do?
I mean,
I'm scared. I'll do some chili. I'll put some chili crisps on it.
Be careful! You might get copyright flagged for the use of the chili crisps.
Oh, is that really okay?
No, I mean it's a joke with I think that one chef that tried to patent it.
Oh.
No, but for real, he did lose a bet. He has a spicy noodle challenge in the wings. But if we can get to 5,000 likes, we'll increase that difficulty. And I hate to parade your suffering in front of the audience, but it looks like, I mean, we're already at 31. We're at 32 now. I think a lot of people want to see you suffer. That's just.
Man, you should have picked like 10 at least. I don't know.
I mean, listen, if we can get to 10,000 likes, why don't you propose how you're gonna up the ante, raise the stakes?
Listen, we're talking 3x, right? Not 2x. Mind you, the 2x is I started eating it raw, where you just mix it up in the bag, and on a raw status, that's like my heat limit.
Mm-hmm.
Now obviously it's a lot less hot when you have a bunch of water and stuff in there, but just to give you an idea, like picking it out the bag with my chopsticks, like there was times where I'd have to stop and be like, woo. I don't normally have to do that.
What typically makes the spice more prevalent? Like, is there a drink that I think carbonated drinks spread it, right?
They certainly make it worse. Also, during the last challenge, someone said that peanut butter helped. It did not help.
I think peanut butter
did not help.
I think peanut butter would add a certain level of like. I think people think that anything that's creamy in texture kind of like alleviates it, but
I think it's possible that we had too nice of peanut butter, right? Because my peanut butter had the oil, you have to mix it up and all that stuff. Maybe if I had some like Jiffy or something where it there's no separate oil, but like. Yeah, mine, it just like lit my mouth up like a Christmas tree. It was crazy.
No, listen, this is an ancient Chinese secret. The only thing that helps with spice is garlic and onion. Raw garlic and onion. Like you slice one off, take a bite out of it like an apple, whatever. Literally, like the stuff present in garlic and onions just neutralizes it.
Okay, that's interesting. I will say I do know that if you just chew on a raw garlic clove, it'll eventually get so hot you have to spit it out. I don't know how that works, but it does. We did that in science class. And then I proceeded to get kicked out of my next 3 classes because I smelled the garlic too strongly.
I have no idea what's going on. Which spicy challenge is this? This spicy challenge is our bet that we made with the Bad Batch. And what was the bet?
No, it was with the acolyte, and it was.
Oh yeah.
It was just throwing out theories.
Oh, it was Torben, right? Torben was the Darth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got a Bulldog Spicy Noodle Challenge in his future. We've reached 5,000 likes. Which means you're at level 3? I forget how many levels Bulldog has.
It's 3x. Yeah, 3x is what the challenge was.
How can we raise the stakes for 10,000 likes?
I don't know if it's healthy to raise the stakes at this point in time. Can we just wait? Can we?
Shout out to Nick Knock who sent a heart me and cheer you up. Level 10. You guys are going hard with your thumbs and the likes. Appreciate it. Which also means, I mean, you guys have already reached the threshold for Choco doing this Spicy Noodle Challenge live, so that will be live. It'll be 3x. And who knows, maybe at like 10,000 likes, if we reach 10,000 likes, we can give him peanut butter, because that doesn't make it better.
Okay, but at how many likes do you have to jump in with at least some 2x?
If we can get to 20,000 likes, I will join you on the challenge.
All right.
It'll be a Dyad challenge at that point if we get to 20,000 likes. Oh look, the likes number disappeared. I can't keep track of it. What else happened this week in Star Wars? Of course, Premiere caught up with Daisy Ridley during the Deauville Festival when she got the Rising Star or New Hollywood award. And they asked her some questions. Key takeaways, of course, were she didn't really feel forced to come back. Barring a script, the concept alone made her come back. And she felt like there was story to tell.
That's really exciting. Yeah, that's exciting to know. Where, she's getting a Rising Star award, right? And she's actually been in quite a few things since since the trilogy, or even in between certain things. But obviously she'll be doing some more, and so it makes me excited because it feels more like she didn't. Not only was she not forced to come back, but it's not like I can't get any jobs or anything like that. No, she's winning an award right now, and so it's not like she needed it, but it was something she wanted to do, and But I'm mostly happy to hear that she had a good experience with it. That makes me happy.
When she was asked about the reception of Rey, and the interviewer framed it specifically or explicitly as getting a violent reception, she said she tries to focus on the positive. She can't control how some men view women, and I feel like that's a good thing. I think, especially when it comes to Skeleton Crew coming up, and we've got more children entering the Star Wars space, I feel like they have to be able to find channels like us, find Lothal Youngling, find Master James Kenobi, Nick Knock, everybody on this, everybody on our live, all of our creators, all of our community, focus on the positive conversations. Because yeah, you really can't take to heart the quote unquote violent rhetoric, or the rhetoric that is going to be detrimental or a detriment to your mental health, to your stability, you know.
Yeah.
And like, we all operate in this world being our own worst critics anyway, and so we really don't need those over the top inflammatory, you know, things being said about these actors.
Yeah, and I've actually come to a personal decision that, I mean, coming forward here, I'm gonna have a bit of time on my hands, so I'm gonna be making a bit more content, going back to basics, doing more Star Wars lore. I am planning to I got to get my trivia skills back up. Basically,
How'd you do on Volume 3?
I didn't take it. I marked it and kept scrolling because I wasn't ready. And yeah, part of me leaving is I've stopped truly feeling like myself in a weird way, and I don't know how to explain it. But I feel like I'm being slowly cordoned down a path that's not me, and it's not healthy, and it's not going to lead to good places mentally or physically or emotionally. So that's why I'm pulling the ripcord right now. Anyways, that's to say, I'm gonna make more content, going back to lore. We're doing rewatch of Clone Wars, while filling up my own Star Wars Bible, making content on that. But
ooh,
I am going to continue to call out popular creators' bad information. And I'm going to be a lot more overt about it. About, this is what this creator said. This is wrong. This is the proof. There you go. Right.
And by creator,
so start doing that a lot
you
more.
Obviously mean, just like how they like to mischaracterize and twist words. How's it going, Milk?
Yeah, and it's no hate against any specific creators, regardless of what I may think of them personally. It's I just want to correct misinformation, but I want to know, I want people to know, like, the source. If you're using this as your source, it is not a good source. I think more people need to be aware of that than my subtle corrections.
Yeah,
but it'll be offset with a lot more content.
That's basically what I've come down on as well. Recently, shout out to Con D Skywalker on the clock. I recently reached out to him. There's way too much focus on the comments, the negative comments. Like, we gotta call out the grifters when it makes sense, and then kind of, for lack of a better phrase, hit it and quit it. You're going to get people who are going to get riled up by them being called out, and you can't make videos on every single comment. You have to focus on the message and then move on. And that's not to say I was trying to police him in any way, but he actually did ask me, how do you do it? And so I was like, listen, you call them out and then you move on with your life and make some more content. It's giving them the time and the attention is exactly what they want, especially if you think about the statistics behind the chances of them just being a troll. Yep. So we gotta call a spade, call out the misinformation, and then at the end of the day, keep going with our positive message, keep going with the content that is the content we want to see. You know, like we said in our pre-show, a lot of what Star Wars conversations are today is gossip columns incarnate. Keeping on focusing on interviews, what the celebrities say, what the actors say, and mischaracterizing it and stuff, and being sensational about it. Like, half of the criticisms I watched on The Acolyte was not on Acolyte. It was Charlie Bennett said Anakin, or Anakin blew up the Death Star, and they said it was the gayest show and whatever, and I'm just like, but like, let's talk about the show, you know? And that's why in during that time I focused more on what was happening versus latching on to the critical aspects of it. So I think that's what we need to do moving forward. Shout out to Nikki Wu. The negativity got to be confronted. Exactly.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, when we say some people are being negative, we don't mean all people. And I hate we have to do that, but for legal reasons.
When I say some people, I don't mean all people. Like, it's insane. It's insane. But I am so hopeful that, you know, within, I don't know, a month or so, we might have a big wave of positivity. Come over the land, and so I'm excited at that possibility. Like we said, we're super excited for Glass Abyss. As much as I enjoy Shatterpoint as a book, some of the jungle stuff just feels weird to me, you know. Oh, actually, that's what I wanted to say, because they asked about Agatha all along. Is I did have to laugh because I had to say to myself, okay, this is written by a woman, probably a queer woman, definitely a white woman, because when they all picked up instruments, guess which one got the bass? And I just had flashbacks to a South Park episode of a token. We're starting a band and you're on bass. I don't know how to play. Dude, just go to your basement and get your dad's bass. I don't even know if my dad has a. Shut up. Just go into your basement and get your dad's bass. And like, of course he has one. And like, yeah. And then everyone at school the next day was like, hey, does your dad play bass? And I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
Joseph Barron's in the chat.
My entire life.
Joseph Barron's in the chat said, love Agatha all along. Rio is so hot. Yeah, I mean, join the club. Chaco has recently joined it. And I think it largely has to do with things.
We'll talk later. But yes.
I mean, I've had a crush on Aubrey Plaza for years.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan. Seen her in a lot of stuff. Just, you know, nothing in the old boneyard, you know.
Young said Rio's for the girls, the gays, and the theys. Sorry, boys. Hey, it doesn't mean we can't appreciate it.
You know what's funny? It's like, I agree with that, but like, also, wasn't she married to a dude?
Not Rio. She's best green witch, but my waifu isn't Rio. Who's your waifu, Joseph? What else happened? What else happened in the week of Star Wars?
Also in Star Wars, upcoming, we actually do have a special edition. I don't know if you ever see like the Titan reference books. They're like a collection of things, but they're gonna be reprising it, and it'll be interesting because it's gonna be full of like interviews and stuff from 1999, and like we'll get to see interviews from all of these people this many years later and see not everything probably aged well, but I don't know, some of it probably did. we'll, we'll, we'll have to see. Speaking of the Phantom Menace, I sent you a video the other night, and did you check that out? The TikTok
I think I did.
of him talking about the Filipino martial arts.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah,
based,
yeah. Yeah, that was great.
I'm hear your thoughts on it.
I mean, I like what he said. He basically says that the Filipino martial arts needs to be more appreciated, and I like that he took an active role in kind of shining a light on it. And it's the same with Manny in the Acolyte. The knife hand and the sword hand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it meant more to me with Manny, but I appreciate the nod and the look from Ahmed Best. More people should know about the art of the empty hand, as it were.
Yeah.
Your waifu is Kana from Oshinoko.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Shout out to the ND Wise Guy. Gents, how are we doing this evening? We're doing great.
Speaking of Oshinoko, so I actually started watching a Popstar Academy, which is funny because I'm doing it backwards, having already been introduced to Cat's Eye. And so it's interesting to watch it backwards, but it's also interesting having seen all of season 1 of Oshinoko. Because that show gives you a look into the behind the scenes of the idol industry, of those types of reality and dating shows, and like how much of it is real, how much of it is not real, and how much of it is decided by the editors in the room, and that type of thing. And so some of the things it does make me curious of like, well, yeah, we need a villain for this arc, and this is how we're going to display it. It also goes into the effects that has on the actors themselves and their mental health on that. I'm not gonna lie, I actually cried watching Oshinoko when we got to that point in that part of the series. So highly recommend. Season 2 should actually already be complete. It's just that the show airs on High Dive, and I ain't paying for that.
Shout out to the Everything GM. Hey, y'all, can't stay for long, but I wanted to say hi. Hope you're all taking care of yourselves. Nope, but we're doing great.
Working on it.
Living a life of infinite neglect. I'm just kidding. Shout out, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in and stopping by. I had something to say. Oh,
that's just an interesting domain expansion. Infinite neglect. and it's just Asmongold's house.
Muno Mugen. I had a question for you. Did you watch the link that I sent you? I said I thought you'd be interested in this. I know you don't watch those variety shows because you're not like fully into K-pop, but Cat's Eye went on it.
Yeah, I believe I watched it, and I want to find it to make sure. Oh, that one I have not watched it yet.
Check it out. So Manon or Denny?
Well, I mean, it's forever Manon, but
But you side glancing Danny? Is that it? Is she catching strays?
No, she can dance. You know, she can dance.
She's spicy.
Yeah, one of them spicy whites.
You know what? It's interesting the way it plays out because my two favorites are the Asians. Well, not the only Asians. My two favorites is Sophia and Megan. It's the Filipino and the Chinese, and I have both in me.
Okay.
I would like both of them in me.
I don't have any Swiss.
Maybe you do. Have you taken
Where's Danny from?
Danny's from
Colombia or
Atlanta, Georgia, but she's Latino, I think.
Yeah.
Where they went to her home during promos. I forget where. I think it was Colombia. I forget. Also found a new waifu from Genshin Impact is Mualani. I have not kept up with Genshin Impact. My waifu from there is still, if I could remember, because I haven't keep track of it. Let me know, Joseph. It's the one with it's the one with the raven, because obviously, lightning. Lightning based attacks is my jam. Yeah, I forget their name. Element, I beg of you to stop. Listen.
Who said I beg you to stop? Was that Young?
No, that was Everything GM.
Oh, okay.
What am I doing? What needs to stop? Am I on a locomotive? He probably caught that supremely micro hint of a joke.
All right, yeah. So instead, just give us a top three.
Sorry?
Yeah, just give us a top three for waifus.
In general? That's rough.
In anime.
Within anime. Dang, I mean, there's a top three. I'll start first with an old classic, and that's Katsuragi from Evangelion. Who else? Dang, there's so many. There's two fighting for one spot from Zegapane. It's either Ryoko or Shizuno. No, it's between those two. Oh, thank you, Joseph, for narrowing it down for me, like, slightly. But okay. I'll go with Katsuragi from Evangelion. I'll go with Ryoko from Zegapane, and then I will go to Bleach for this. And it's not Yoruichi. That's Choco's. It's Soifon. Soifon.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's next best thing.
That was in response to the Chinese and Filipino thirst joke. Go to horny jail. I'm always in horny jail. I stream from it.
No. And then for me, and it's in this order. Well, number 3, Urza Scarlet. Always Urza. Number 2, Nico Robin. And number 1 is Yoruichi.
Dang. The latest Kerr is returning. You excited for that?
What?
The latest part of Bleach is coming back.
Oh yeah. When exactly is it coming back? Because I try not to get my hopes up with it. When they're like years out, I'm like, okay, I don't want to think about it. I'm gonna put this on snooze. I'll put this alert on snooze.
You ready for this?
Oh no.
Tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, no, I won't.
Oh, I got some
Wasn't ready for
Evangelion
that.
people. Okay, Misato from Evangelion. All right.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, she's mine. I named her first. But
Well, yeah, I mean, I just it just connected in my head that's who Reisika, one of our mutuals, cosplays at. She's
Yeah.
the cosplaying paleontologist.
For those uninitiated, it's Katsuragi Misato. So, Master James Kenobi said Misato, which is the same. How about in recent memory? Recent animes. So I'm gonna first start with Liana because that's the most recent memory. Liana Owenzaus.
Liana Halleck.
That's one. The next one is, I mean, I gotta say, Angelica from Ulsan. And what's another anime that I recently watched?
I'm actually, you saying recent. I actually might have to remove Urza off my list to add space for Mao.
I mean, Urza can be recent. Have you started a 100-year quest?
No, I haven't. But Mao Mao from Apothecary Diaries. Highly intelligent scientist back in ancient China, solving mysteries. It's a great show. It's a great show.
You know what? We're gonna play the reverse game. My third is from Fairy Tail because I have to bring her back. It's surprisingly not a lightning-based character, and it's Juvia.
Yeah. I was so while working, I'll just like toss anime on in the background as long as it's not anything that I have to be distracted by. And so since I've seen Fairy Tail, I can toss it on. And I forgot about Metal Juvia. Do you remember she becomes?
Yeah.
Yeah. But no. She definitely steps up her game once she joins Fairy Tail.
Also, I forget what her name is, but she's got blue hair. She's romantic with Gajeel.
Your glasses?
No, yellow bandana, yellow hair band, blue hair.
Smart one that's solving riddles and stuff.
Hold on. Blue hair sounds familiar. Everybody has blue hair in anime. Let's see. I have to look it up.
Oh, and the assistant coach in Haikyuu.
I appreciate all these lists that put the names. Levi or Levi.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. She's always solving like people's word puzzles and stuff like that. And, yeah, she's cool.
In any case, let's move on to the one he pinned to a tree early on. Hey. A lot of people were pinned to trees early on.
No, but I feel like you might be talking about Levy. Like I can picture when he attacks and starts shooting out metal. How does his power work? It's interesting for someone to not have it be energy based. It's like just
kind of
metal,
like
steel girders and stuff.
Unsure, and also, like, isn't it riveted?
Yeah.
So it's not even like a uniform material. It's funny. But let's move on to our lore segment, where we're going to be talking just briefly about family bloodlines. You ready, Chaco?
Indeed. Make it so.
Everything you know about Star Wars is wrong. In this episode, we're talking Star Wars bloodlines, family lineages, and how there is none in Star Wars. There's a lot of talk about how, you know, we need more characters that are nobodies. You would have preferred if Rey was a nobody amidst talks of her possibly being a Rey Kenobi or a Rey Skywalker. And, well, Chaco, what's the problem with that sentiment?
Yeah, like 99.9% of the Jedi Order are nobodies. You know, well, I know, you know, Luke says the Force is strong in my family, and he's right. And it's probably because because Anakin like was a virgin in the Force. But you know who wasn't Force sensitive? His mom. Yeah. So even in that, you almost can't truly say it's a legacy if you think about it, because I feel like you need more generations for that, right?
I think so. I think by the time of the sequel trilogy, when we get Ben Solo, we can establish generational power or generational connection to the Force, right? Because Ben is from Leia. But other than that, like, that's the only canon family we have of generational, like, inherited power. Palpatine's parents weren't anyone special. Mace Windu is Mace Windu. We don't know of Yoda's provenance. We don't know Qui-Gon's, Obi-Wan's. Like, for all intents and purposes, everybody in the Jedi Order besides... No, that's it. Like, everybody in the Jedi Order were all the first of their families, really. So... Yeah,
I mean, you know, for instance, one that we do know for a certainty is Ahsoka, as well as Count Dooku. You know, we got to know both of their families and them being the only Force sensitive ones, and it's I mean, I don't think it adds anything, but like you even look at Rey, you know, Palpatine's granddaughter. Not really. Her father was not Force sensitive and was not his son. It was a strange. So you can't even really say that that's hereditary. Um,
Yeah.
So I've always likened it more to a mutation that can happen under certain circumstances, right? Because we do have cases like Tiplar and Tipley, right? People who are related who are both force sensitive. But even then, it's often not to the same degree, or not at all. So if I think about it like a mutation, that means that under the proper circumstances, it can appear in anyone. But it can be more likely coming from specific people, but not always.
Yeah, and typically it's always come down to a certain alien species that is more likely than not to be force sensitive. Tigrutans are very highly force sensitive. We have Jorah Mali, we have Shakti, we have Ahsoka, but none of them are related in terms of filial connection. There's a lot of Mary Allens that are force sensitive. None of them are family. You know, Vernestra's not connected to Barriss. And even if we go into the EU, it's largely very special, like in the cases of someone like an Anakin figure. Revan to Bastila, Bastila to Tasil, and Tasil to Satil. But otherwise, there's not really huge lines and family trees of tremendous
Revan
following.
had Vaynor, you know.
Theron Shan.
Satil had Theron. In the expanded universe, we did have Corran Horn, right, who was related, like, up to his grandfather, I want to say, and then he had 2 kids.
We like to say that force sensitivity is highly likely if someone in your family that precedes you was, but it doesn't preclude power, right? Like we just mentioned, Satil Shan was the Grand Master, and Theron didn't have any. You know, and then in the case of Ben
Palpatine was
Solo,
so powerful that he owns everyone.
Yeah,
His parents didn't have it.
So, I mean, I think for the most part, this video is about misconceptions of the Force being largely lineage-based, largely bloodlines. For the very fact that the stories we've had has largely revolved around the Skywalker family, we can establish that they do have a bloodline. But everyone else is a nobody. I mean, Anakin was
Yoda species is 100% force sensitive, right?
Of what we know, yes. Grogu.
Yeah.
Yaddle.
So I always like to make that clarification, because people will say that, yes, they are all force sensitive. You're like, all of the ones we have seen have been force sensitive, but that's not to say all of them are. That doesn't mean we can't run into one of them that isn't. And if one of them wasn't, we would never have the context to run into them. So we wouldn't know. So know what you know, and also know what you don't know.
Yeah. All right. Shout out to Podwants Podcast. When are we going to have y'all's thoughts on Rings of Power? I mean, dang. So as someone who knows,
I'm an episode behind. I'm sorry.
how far behind are you?
Well, there's an episode tonight, right?
No, there's an episode on Wednesday. There was the finale.
Okay.
It was just the finale.
Okay, well then I'm 2 behind.
Okay. Well, I mean, I absolutely love it right now. I mean, largely because I know what's going to happen in the next season. Well, I don't know. I can largely say what's going to happen, what we might see based on what we saw in the finale. And it's a very, very exciting and interesting time. And so the next season for sure, even as much as I loved this season, the next season is going to be super, super exciting for fans of Galadriel, for fans of Celeborn, for fans of Lothlorien, and the Lady of Light. But that's all I'm going to say to avoid spoiling it for Choco. Shout out to Young in the chat. Choco, catch the fuck up. I mean, yeah.
My bad.
I mean, you also got to catch up with Historia as well.
This is true, but this will all be done tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'll be done tomorrow.
Thoughts on House of the Dragon? I actually kind of fell off in the last season. I haven't finished the latest season.
Ha! I have. So there. This season has a lot more dragons, but less happens. The writing and stuff is still solid and top notch. I just wish they did more with the season, personally. How about Penguin?
I have not started a Penguin. It's quite the build up without a payoff. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have too many solid thoughts on the latest season of House of Dragon. I just kind of I for what it's worth, what happens each season is I pick and choose my priorities, and that's how it goes. I love House of Dragon. I love Gurm stuff, but for some reason I didn't keep up with it this season. And that's not to say anything about what I think of it. It's just I didn't follow it closely.
Now I will say Penguin has very good very solid writing, but it's hasn't done anything that's overtly Batman related at all.
Like Gotham?
It's just like a crime. Yeah, it's just a crime show at this point that you downloaded a star like a skin on it. You know what I mean? It's like when I play Starfield and I have a bunch of Star Wars skins on it. So this area has a bunch of stormtroopers walking around. That's about it. It's really enjoyable.
We reached peanut butter. We have officially 10,000 likes on TikTok. And so your spicy noodle challenge will include a spoonful of butter. Or not butter. A spoonful of peanut butter. Dang, that would taste weird, I think. Well, no, I mean, no. Butter will just add more savory to it. But yeah. We'll think of a live stream where Choco will do the spicy noodle challenge with a spoonful of peanut butter.
Makes the medicine go down.
And we'll choose a topic for him to explain while doing it, so he's forced to speak on the matter. So, for example, during a spicy noodle challenge, we'll ask him to, to summarize the plot of a book. We'll see. And of course, my initial offer still stands. If we get to 15K, if we get to 15K, I will also join the challenge.
Yeah.
But thanks for everybody for destroying their thumbs to get us to 10K. It's absolutely crazy. Dimmy asks Han versus Cassian. In what context? Battle of Jakku Insurgency Rising #1 came out this week. Yeah, I still have to read that. I still have to read Kelnaka as well.
I am also behind on the comics, but we should also talk about what comics we got.
To have him talk about his top 3 hall passes? Interesting. That was young.
I don't think I have any. I don't think I'm allowed to have any wall passes. Hall passes.
Blaster fight. I mean, Han's just gonna shoot first. Really?
Yeah, I ultimately Han is gonna be the dirtier fighter. But Cassian. No, Cassian will shoot first too. No,
Well,
that's I mean, it's a good one.
Well, here's the thing. Who taught? I'm going off of like Han was.
Cassian's gonna win.
Han
Final
takes
answer.
after Tobias Beckett.
Han takes after Tobias, but Han has a heart of gold. He's willing to shoot first, but he still has that heart of gold.
Yeah, but he doesn't know Cassian.
Cassian doesn't. He doesn't know Cassian, but he would operate under what I feel is the same level of warmth. You know what I mean? Like Cassian was able to shoot the only guy next to him, from the heist when he realized, oh, this guy sucks. You know what I mean? He had no problems, no qualms doing that.
Same with Han.
I picture in that scenario Han trying to explain things unless he knew them a lot more first.
No. Do you forget he shot Tobias pretty quickly? And he knew Tobias.
I mean, but that's what I mean. Is he knew Tobias like a lot more than
but that would
Cassian
also
knew.
have a relatively higher impact to his heart of gold.
And already being certain that you can't trust one person, I disagree. I don't think he would have shot Tobias if he was like just meeting this guy because he would trust him, or he would not because he would trust him, but he would give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, but I think we're going a little bit into the weeds here because Han versus Cassian in a blaster fight. Like, what reason does Han have when they're both facing each other with a blaster to doubt his actions? Like, do they get together and talk first and be like, "Why are you?"
Yeah, they get in the little space cars and they like drive around. This is a Seinfeld bit. But yeah, they drive around first to get into an accident, and then then the fight starts.
No, I think
I'm just. I'm okay. I can get on board with that though. Like if it was someone's like, you guys are gonna come in here and fight, we're gonna count down and then start, then yeah, I would give that to Han.
Yeah, I mean, given any other extraneous circumstances, facing each other with blasters and be like, fight. Yeah, Han's taking it.
Unless he tries to like scare him like he does stormtroopers, then he's just getting shot.
Yeah. I do agree that if they started talking to each other, but then I would argue if they started talking to each other, they would just not fight. I never thought I'd see Adelhard again. Oh no, that's spoilers. Hold on. We haven't read. Don't worry about it. It's fine. He's on the cover. I haven't seen the cover, but it doesn't matter. You're all good. Okay. Does anybody else have any other lore questions? Otherwise, we're gonna get to our main segment here in just a bit. We'll give you guys about 2 minutes to think of any lore questions that you guys might have. Also, if you're interested in an easier way to kind of keep up with our live streams, we are now streaming on Twitch as well. So you can go to twitch.tv/element7 underscores. Because why not? I plan to in the future try to change that to twitch.tv/Dyad in the Force. I think in general it's easier to just kind of have parity across all platforms. Not a cue, but I'm so glad you guys were able to talk to Kati. Yeah, it was a wonderful conversation. I enjoyed getting to know her, and I enjoyed stumping her on being a Bad Batch girly forever. You guys will understand.
That was dirty. That was a dirty trick.
I mean, I think she recovered.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I mean, she is better than us. So.
do you think in a future comic it'll be explained how Luke built his lightsaber? It has been. Star Wars 2020 issue 32.
It's in the 30s.
It's in the 30s. Star Wars 2020 by Charles Soule. Is it by Charles Soule or Kevin Scott? Charles Soule. I keep forgetting, right? Because even the latest Vaders are Greg Pak, so it's like, who? Anyways, Star Wars
now,
2020
I will
issues
say,
30 and up.
There is a Star Wars comic series I'm excited for. Star Wars Ewoks. First issue drops next week.
Yeah.
The underscore is Caravan of Carnage, and it's an Ewok standing on a stormtrooper helmet with its spear, because they're murder bears, and they are not little cute things. They kill and they eat people.
Yeah.
All of the celebration smoke, the fires all around. If you were walking past a campfire and you're like, that smells good, that meat, I'm just saying.
Also, there's absolutely no reason to have empty helmets all around their camp if they did not, in fact, use the contents.
Yep.
Like, the Ewoks don't collect Imperial Stormtrooper helmets. It's just not... They're not that type of people.
Although, they might steam them inside the armor. You know.
Yub nub for life. All right, let's get to our main segment. We were lucky and fortunate enough to meet and speak with Katarina Cruz, an up-and-coming creator on the Clock app. If you want to follow her @ is Katarina Cruz. And if you need help spelling Katarina Cruz, probably don't want you to follow her. I'm just kidding.
I was like,
KATARINA
I can't spell it.
CRUZ. But yeah, we'll be right back. You guys enjoy our conversation with Katarina, and
We'll be in the chats.
yeah, we'll be in the
Obviously.
chat watching it with you guys and engaging with you guys. Hey guys, welcome to Dyad in the Force. We're joined by a very special guest, Chaco. Why don't you go ahead and introduce them and get them into the swing of things?
Yes, very special guest. I have my dog Suki right here with us, looking very cute with her purple ears. And this is our special guest, but she doesn't talk very much. No, on a serious note, we have our friend Katarina here. I was going to say Catalina. I'm thinking about Southern California. Katarina, why don't you start by telling the good people who you are and where people can find you.
Yeah, my name is Katarina Cruz. I pretty much just make Star Wars content, and my username on pretty much all platforms is Katari X Cruz.
Awesome. And why don't you let everybody know kind of like how you got started in Star Wars? What are your favorite projects? And how did you get started with content?
So I got into Star Wars basically just because I feel like it was something that was always floating around my house. Like I have 3 older sisters and they all pretty much kind of watched it. So definitely the prequels are the ones I remember the most. Playing Lego Star Wars. But it wasn't really until like quarantine that I started to get into like all of the animated shows, because I remember I was keeping up actively with like The Mandalorian, and I was super like into that, so that kind of really ignited it. And then during quarantine, I had a lot of time on my hands, so then I got really into the animated shows, and especially The Bad Batch is what like completely like took over my body. Like I was just obsessed with The Bad Batch. Still I am. Just it became something that I couldn't stop thinking about. And then I really wanted to talk about it, but my sister, who is the only one that had watched Bad Batch, she was kind of like, okay, I'm getting sick of you talking about it and I need a break. So I was like, where else can I go? And then I pretty much just started making videos in hopes that like I could talk to some people about it. And that's pretty much, yeah, that's like where it all started.
And then you became
That's
a tech
awesome.
truther.
Yes. Oh my God. I was a tech truther until the very end. Like it just, yeah.
Until you're not anymore.
I don't know. I
But
feel
there's
like I
there's
had
no
to let
body
it go. I still think there's no body, but then they gave us like the epilogue, and I'm just like, if she didn't mention him after all these years, then I just feel like maybe it is time to let him go.
So here's how I
I
reconcile
do think. Oh, go ahead.
that scene that epilogue that they had when they were older. There was no relevance in mentioning tech,
That's true.
right?
Yeah. But I'm still completely open. Like if they want to touch back on that story, like I want Tech to be alive so bad. Like I didn't even mourn him at the end of season 2 because I was like, okay, it's Star Wars, like he'll be back. Like I was so convinced, like I didn't even have time to be sad. And then just everything that happened, I thought it was going to be the Shadow clone, and everybody was making theories about that and all this stuff. But if there's a chance that Tech's alive, like I'm on board.
Yeah, that was a huge theory of ours or of mine. I don't know if Chucko is still a subscriber to that theory.
I'm still a subscriber. Like they had a scene in the final season where they had a helmet removal, but the camera behind it, so we couldn't see.
Mhm.
And I ultimately I think it's even worse, because I think they did bring it back and it was successful. And so I think he's alive, but he's just not Tech anymore.
Yeah.
Like a Winter Soldier moment.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
There's also the other
He's a
even
reverse
worse
Bucky.
theory, and that was that they successfully cloned him, and it is a clone of Tech, and the real Tech is dead. And then it goes
Yeah,
from there to
that's-
be like Chaco's like it's him, but it's not
Damn.
him.
See, honestly, at that point, I'd rather him just be gone than have him be like
Yeah.
a worse version of himself.
That's
But like
true.
I think that's why they framed that scene because that framing was intentional. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like especially if something's computer generated, nothing is there by accident. There's nothing
Exactly.
that's in the scene that's not put there by someone on purpose. And I think they knew we were theorizing. They knew they
must have
Jen talked
known.
about it on Twitter. They toss it in there and are like, guess what? It doesn't matter. And you're like, God.
They played with us a little too much, I fear.
Yeah.
So what do you-
them
what do you-
and the Kiners trolling
Oh
us
my
on
God.
Twitter as well.
Every single week.
Do you think that epilogue is going to lead to something, even if it's not a Bad Batch, but like they're setting up Omega for something else, like another story?
I hope so. I mean, they do like the screenwriters even did like interviews like after the fact and basically said like, I don't know if it's just like their whole book is closed, or I feel like it's probably just a chapter. So that kind of leads me to believe that like there is so much of a possibility for them to touch back on, especially Omega's story, and like maybe have a Rebellion pilot show. I have no idea. But I definitely feel like this isn't the last we're going to see of the Bad Batch or these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
heck, give me a. So the Legends books or the Rogue Squadron books were
Yeah.
essentially about them, the pilots retaking Coruscant, right? Because at
Mhm.
the end, the Empire still occupied the planet, right? And I wish we could get something like that, because even if Omega's not the main character or anything like that, it'd be amazing just to have them as a character in the story, as one of the pilots, as part of the crew or whatever.
yeah. I feel like that was the start of us getting stories that we thought had legs, and then and then them pulling the rug from underneath us. Because even though the Bad Batch, we had gotten largely a pretty, a pretty contained story and an ending. That last scene with Omega and Hunter was like the start of something new. But it was the start of something new at the end of something that was clearly ending. And then we got the Acolyte, and that story had like caterpillar legs. And then they pulled the
I don't
rug
know what
from
that
underneath.
means.
It just had a lot of legs.
A lot of
it just,
it?
Yeah, it just
Okay.
had a lot of legs to,
I was like, is it fast? Is it sturdy? I don't know. Does it have a lot of good traction?
What about because I want to go through a lot of the things that you were talking about recently in your TikToks. Because Acolyte seems like it was very important to you as well.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I came in with like very open-minded. I feel like I try not to judge things too harshly, especially knowing how many people are kind of rooting for these projects to fail. I'm even more so, it just makes, I'm like, if you're not going to like it, I'm going to like it even more. And so in that sense, I'm like, just keep hating because I'm going to like it. But I still think it had so much integrity within the storylines. And I think that cast and crew really did put a lot of like hard work and their soul into it. So just to hear all of the backlash that was so just without reason, it was really disappointing because I think the story had so much potential in just the few episodes that we got.
Certainly
It
without
was
reason.
insane. Like there was no
Crazy.
logic behind any of it, and even the conversation. I don't know. Like a lot of people are talking now because for weeks people kept saying, "Well, of course it got canceled. Nobody watched it," and I keep saying like it started in the top 10 and it ended in the top 10 for streaming shows. That's really good, even if it fell out in the middle. But then right now we, have the Penguin, which those people are raving about, less views than the Acolyte. How do you reconcile that? It's a funny thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also never thought about the factor of like, the more you hate something, the more I'm going to love it. Like I've always flown in the face of the haters as well, considering how long I've been doing this since 2019, since the Rise of Skywalker, really. But it's such a weird feeling to like sit there and have your criticisms of something and kind of like the Rise of Skywalker is a good example too. It's one of my least favorite movies.
Mhm.
I have some execution criticisms about its storyline and the overall structure of the movie, but like going years and years of people complaining about the dumbest stuff makes me, I almost feel like I love the movie now.
That's so real. Yeah. Because it's just baseless arguments. At a certain point, I would read the comments and I'm like, they're arguing with themselves. Like, it's crazy. It just does not make any sense. And it's weird is that they go so far out of their way to tell people that they don't like something. And I'm like, I don't know what that has to do with me, but okay. And a part of me does feel bad for people who had valid criticisms because, I mean, the show wasn't perfect. And so for people who came into it just saying like, oh, there was this aspect that I didn't like. And for that, like, it just kind of got so overwhelmed by people who were flooding with just complete negativity. I'm like, there was just losses on like all fronts. It was just disappointing.
Yeah.
Katarina, have you watched The Office?
Yeah.
Chance? Okay. You saying that just reminded me of when Michael was dating Pam's mom.
Oh God.
And he's like, I'm gonna date her even harder.
Yeah, that's literally me.
That's you. No,
We all have Jim looks at the camera whenever we get those comments though. Right?
Oh yeah, my invisible camera.
Because even talking about the hyperspace rules, which was one of my more recent videos, like there were so many people that just like were so like stubborn about the fiction of it all, and it's like you shouldn't be able to do this. The knife shouldn't line up like this, and I'm just like, these are all things that require imagination. It's I mean, like, yeah, sure, it might be silly. You might not agree with that story decision of the knife lining up with the Death Star or Han being able to do things that he shouldn't be able to do, or Han being able to do things, the near impossible things. But that's like the main thing about Star Wars is Han doing that stuff. I mean, growing up with the original trilogy, that was like some of the most prominent conversations is Han Force sensitive? Like he does so many impossible things. And so like nowadays, when you talk about some of these feats in Star Wars, they're not feats anymore. They're breaking the rules. And with the Acolyte, it was just even more, shall I say, obtuse.
Yeah.
It's just...
Hopefully we do have a couple books coming out. We had like the Kilnaka comic. So in lieu of not having a season 2, if you could do anything else with the Acolyte story, where would you go? What would you do?
Oh gosh. I mean, definitely I would like to explore, Osha Osha and Chimere, which I feel like they had such good chemistry on screen. I feel like they really delivered, just especially with, I think, Amandla playing 2 different roles. I think that they handled that incredibly. And if not that, then probably like a prequel maybe with Jecki and Yord. I feel like they also, and I think they're getting a book, so it's kind of, along the same lines, but yeah.
Man, Jecki, we hardly knew you.
We hardly knew you. I'll miss you forever.
I was actually really hoping that maybe the kind of the way that the first season was the 2 timelines at the same time. We had what's going on now and how much what happened 15 years ago, 10 years ago, I can't remember right now, how much it affected them.
16.
And I would 16, that's right. And how cool would it be if there was a second season, but it was the same thing where it's split between, and it's mostly about, not to take anything away from Amandla, but if it was mostly about the stranger and his time as a Padawan under Vernestra, and then it jumps to the future and have them like those, and what set him on that path kind of be the story.
Yeah. I think I liked honestly having the 2 different timelines taking place at the same time because they have such parallels, and it also explains why they're acting this way, and it just kind of I like the dynamic of it. So I think having that comparison for like another possible spin-off would be really cool.
I think the show's greatest strength was also its greatest weakness. And it's not actually a weakness, but it actually really trusted its audience. It told a story and knew what it wanted to tell. And the more you examine it, the more you can find these little tiny details, these little nuggets that tell you what's going to happen, or it tell you, I remember distinctly, watching the first episode and being like, this Yord guy kind of sucks. And then we're like, oh, that's the whole point of his character.
Yep.
Is he kind of sucks because he's trying to be such a good person and, but follow all these rules. When she saw, at the very beginning, when he sees her little sister running, but there's no footprints being left in the snow. Like they did a lot of stuff very intentionally so that you would notice it.
Right.
And that's the problem, is it trusted its audience to be smart enough to pick on those. Not everyone is. And if you're not smart enough, some features look like a bug.
No, that's what this show showed me, is that there are a lot more people out there who are very questionable. Very interesting characters out there because, oh my goodness, with the whole like Force and that ruining Anakin's storyline, I was like, they're not related. Like this is not, they don't have any, like if one does not have to do with the other, it was just so, it was talking in circles. It just is crazy.
That seems to be the problem with a lot of people, accepting the fact that Anakin doesn't own Star Wars.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
I mean, like I made a joke about like Dawn of the Jedi, like 25,000 years prior, and like the first ever Jedi forms the temple, and he's like, yes, this is the virgins and the Force. He's like, that cheapens Anakin's. I'm just like, Listen, he's not the only thing to ever have happened in the galaxy. Like,
There's so
relax.
many other stories and characters that I'm like, why, like, guys, Anakin's great, but like, they're like, come on, like, don't you want to explore more? But I guess they just want him. I don't know.
Yeah, I just want Anakin punching drywall.
I often think about how they thought of the comparison of the power of the Empire in comparison to the Ascendancy. Like, how did they feel? It's like, I feel like that cheapens the Emperor's power in the galaxy. Did that ever happen?
No. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, as it relates,
as a massive expanded universe fan, it was always clear that like anything Vader did, like Palpatine did everything better and bigger and worse and for longer. And so it's interesting because the Vader has to be the best, but you're like, but in both Legends and canon, he wasn't. You know, I think people don't give Palpatine enough respect. You know, he's just a random dude. He doesn't come off of virgins, doesn't have famous Force parents, and he just like ran the galaxy. That's impressive. It's an impressive glow up. He's a terrible person. He accomplished a lot. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, but he has an awesome bloodline, right? When people talk about Rey being Palpatine's granddaughter and like, you know, I would have preferred it if she was a nobody. Like, I get the sentiment, but she was still a nobody.
Yeah.
Like, if we check back in Palpatine's family history, he's literally the only special person. Like, I'll use special liberally there, but like,
almost every Jedi is a nobody.
yeah,
that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying we don't care about Obi-Wan's grandfather. No one's asked about Plo Koon's mom. You know, like most of the Jedi we know are just nobodies, including the greatest nobody, which is Anakin. It was just
doesn't even have a dad.
Yeah. Even among that crowd, they were like, "Oh, Finn must be Mace Windu's son." I'm just like,
oh my god.
I do remember those conversations, and I'd be like, "Why are you saying that to me?"
Because Mace Windu is the only black person in Star Wars, right? So, and then like the Janna and Lando conversations came up, and it's just like, stop looking at black characters in Star Wars and trying to make them all family. You know,
it's weird. It's bad. Yeah.
I'm glad
it's
people
weird,
weren't like,
but...
"Oh, Chimere must be Soul's son." I'm just like, stop it.
Oh my god, I did not hear that, but like, thank goodness I didn't hear that when the show was coming out. No, I'm like, there can be standalone characters. Like, they don't all need to be connected. I think that's what's so great about it is like, if we're thinking about the size of the galaxy in Star Wars, like, come on, there's the chance that these people would be related is like so slim.
Yeah.
Connected and to have
somehow,
everything,
but
that's what kills me about some shows. And like, I'm a big proponent. I think shows need to end. All right.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, otherwise at some point it stops being art unless you have a mastermind like, you know, from like One Piece where he can just keep going forever. But like, if you just, the one show that comes to my mind is the show 24. I don't know if you ever watched it. It kept going on, and the longer it went, the more people were just related to Kiefer Sutherland. And then you're like, whoa, that's because the bad guy is actually my dad, who was already running a terrorist organ. And you're like, what? How is that? You know, it feels like Fast and Furious, you know, did it too. They're
it's
like,
about family.
John Cena is my brother, and you're like, how?
I still don't get it. I still don't understand. I'm like, I cannot see it. And that's crazy.
They did a flashback in the beginning, and I was like, who's
so
that
bad.
black kid?
I was so confused watching it. I was like, wait a minute, is that supposed to be them? Like, I couldn't see it
before.
So
is this how he sees himself? Okay. All right,
isn't
Whatever.
Grey's Anatomy still going too?
It's still going. It's still going on.
Interesting.
How do they find these stories?
I will say,
I mean, people just keep getting hurt, right?
As far as the switcheroo, though, in Star Wars, I gotta say it. The Bad Batch is the worst offender. When I saw Little Kanan,
Oh. Like, who's that little white boy?
That was a gaslighting
I
moment.
was like, whose white baby is this? No, and it was still Freddie Prinze Jr. It's like, yeah, he had
I will say
the
that-
voice of a 45-year-old man, and I was like, that's weird.
So I actually had some copium with that. It was actually one
He
of
looks
my.
so different that without the voice, we wouldn't know it's the same person.
Well, it was
Yeah.
actually one of my
Okay.
explanations that I was like, I don't know, maybe like because it's being filmed in the snow, the bright light is kind of multiplying and reflecting, and it's making him brighter than he actually is. But he was that color in the night.
I could see it. My one explanation for like the clones is, or like the Bad Batch at least, because I mean they should be a little bit darker if we're trying to like aim for Tamar Morrison. But like as somebody who tans in the sun, like if you have a helmet covering your face like 90% of the time, you're not gonna get that dark. So I'm trying to explain it like logically. I'm like, guys, they just have helmets. They're covered like head to toe most of the time, so they're probably not as like tan as they could be. Like I don't know.
Well, I mean, if we think about the Camino technology and how they augment their genetics to be exactly like Django, I think they would insert melanin somewhere, like just
Yeah, they did.
They got a
They
little-
did miss out. The Funkos are so bad. The helmetless Funkos too. Oh god,
Oh,
those
man.
they're little white.
Oh, you
Little white
think
men.
about it, Clone 99,
Oh, 99 was like
he's pretty
white as a
white.
ghost. I mean, he's been in, so there's really not a lot of sun on Camino, probably.
Yeah,
The
He's
fluorescence.
seen some stuff though. Like I feel like he's not. I don't know.
he's a little bit brighter.
Defective.
Echo, when they rescued him, he was pale.
Yeah.
So I think
I
the
thought
clones,
he was just ashy.
honestly, I
He's
think
just he needs emotion.
Just squirt some Jergens on him, he'll be fine.
I think the clones just kind of have like, just like Order 66, they have this kind of baked in order to take off their helmets and sunbathe for an hour a day.
Some vitamin C time.
I'm still picturing though, in the cloning process, there's just like one person with a syringe that's labeled melanin, and they just like, and they were like, they ran out that one day, and they're like,
They ejected
Or-
more than
Got it.
usual, and then that one
Maybe-
person's like, put them in the Bad Batch.
you know what though? I actually get it. It's because of how late they were as clones, and it's like when your printer starts running out of toner.
They just ran out.
It just gets lighter. No, I think it works.
Did you
Maybe.
just equate?
It's science.
Did you just equate melanin with toner?
It's been known to happen.
It's science. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
Speaking of the continuation of Acolyte, did you know that we are doing, from a certain point of view, the Acolyte with Manny's character and Vernestra?
Oh no, I didn't. That's so cool.
You don't follow us. I'm just kidding.
I haven't seen it. I swear. I keep up.
It's how much we fought for, renew the Acolyte, and
Right.
it became a passion project because I really wanted to see that story, hear that story, but since that wasn't the case, we were going to tell that story, and it's going to be a full audiobook. Like the first chapter has already
No
been
way.
cast and recorded, and it's a wrap, and so now I have to do the sound effects. And Chaco and I are going to get together tomorrow to discuss the narratives around chapter 2, which is his fall. And I love it when the math just maths, because I was not thinking about this. I was starting from the High Republic, which was 232 to 230 BBY. And I'm like, okay, so at the end, it's a couple of years. We'll start there for 228. Right, this is when Vernestra becomes a master, and no, not becomes a master. She becomes a master when Chimere is 16. So that was I think 212. If I'm doing the math right. No, 228 plus 16. It's 12, right? 212?
I had a whole day at work and my brain won't math. It's
Oh God. Yeah, numbers are not my strong suit, so like things just
212,
fell.
yes. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm like just gonna fix this really quick.
And then chapter 2 takes place at 203, making Meryl 25. And then we're going to tell the story of his fall. And the math brilliantly out of that realization was, I'm like, wait, would Indara be alive right now? So I took when she died, which was 148, and looked at Carrie Ann Moss's age. She's 57. I subtracted 57 from 148 and got 205. So Indara is like 2 years old when this happens. Just she doesn't even know either.
Oh damn.
So I'm like,
This
man,
is so much math.
yeah, this is gonna be
Like,
great.
hey, this is how we keep canon consistent.
It takes a lot of work.
There's a lot.
Yeah, my
A lot of
AU
mistakes were made early.
My AU usually tries to be in continuity, even if it's not canon. The last story I wrote was the story after Rise of Skywalker, but in writing that I wrote Ahsoka's kind of aftermath, and then they released the Ahsoka show, so I was like, never mind.
You're like, actually, I'm done.
Yeah. At least with this, I'm hoping that it's so weird to say. I'm hoping that they stay away from this story. I don't want to say that.
That's
Maybe
terrible.
they'll tell it. Maybe they'll tell it. I don't know. But I'm writing it for the people who wanted that story, me included.
Sorry. I know, like I'm like my water's spilled. I'm like suddenly trying to like clean it up, disappearing off screen.
Oh, go ahead if you need to clean it up.
We're good.
Are you sure we can
think.
cut? We can cut this part. You know, you went from the Bad Batch, talking about the Bad Batch, to the Acolyte, to going to rebuild the Galaxy premiere. What was that like?
Oh my God, that was crazy. Because I went out to Lucasfilm for the Bad Batch premiere, which was wild. Because it was such a unique experience. Because we got to like meet Dee Bradley and Jennifer Corbett and Michelle Ang, Brad Rouse. So that was really awesome. And then somehow I guess they kept me on their list or something. And then they invited me out to the Rebuild the Galaxy premiere, which is really cool. Especially because I feel like just seeing these animated projects get like premieres of their own and just kind of seen in a respectful manner, I thought that was really cool. Because so often animated projects just kind of go unnoticed and they really go overlooked. So to see that they really do put a lot of focus and love into these projects through premieres and just seeing all the people gather around who are genuinely there to just like be happy and rejoice in like Star Wars projects and who want them to succeed. I think that that's probably one of the best parts, is just being around people who are like genuinely positive, as opposed to people who just like try to gatekeep Star Wars for some odd reason.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That was like my first celebration was Anaheim in 22,
Oh, that's nice.
and I was like, yeah, I've been living in like complete depression hell because of all of the hate, and then like being surrounded suddenly. First of all, I got to meet Chaco finally,
That's cool.
but well, actually we met earlier than that.
We went prior to there. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Here
but
it
yes,
is.
but
Yeah. And then like, you know, we went to Celebration London, and it's just been like, it's been such a roller coaster ride through all of these emotions, because the community we've built and in which we wholeheartedly welcome you to,
Thank you.
is just full of people with different favorites, different opinions, but we can still commune. We can still love each other and hang out with each other and just have fun. Like our first ever Dyad Con, which is something that we named. The namesake is just for getting together for a con, but the premise is not a con at all. You know, we kind of just converged onto one location, one hotel, and then everyone was there, and we were all having breakfast with like mutuals and stuff, and went to Disneyland. So you're definitely coming to the next one.
Oh my god, I'm there. Sign me up. I don't know when it is, but I'm there.
Still in the planning stages. It'll be next year for sure. I think next year for sure, because Japan is quite the pretty penny, and so there might be a lot of people who can't make that, and so we might plan a gathering in place of that as well. But yeah, my train of thought was building off of you experiencing the community that was largely positive surrounding the hate, and that's kind of what keeps us going, right? Chaco, take over. My mind.
I gotta no, but I gotta hear. Well, how was being at that premiere? Like I got to go to the Andor premiere, and that was fantastic.
That's awesome.
But I wasn't actually invited. I was a plus one.
Hey, but you were there.
It was still amazing. No, but how? I want to hear more about the experience. Did you get to meet any cool people that you were friends with online? And what did you think of the show?
Yeah, it was super cool, super fun. It was my first time at El Capitan Theater. So it was just like super overwhelming. The staff there was really, really nice. Like everybody who was there from Disney and Star Wars was so sweet and accommodating. I did get to have like a mini reunion with a lot of the girls that I met at the Bad Batch premiere. So getting to see them in person again was always like, it's just super nice. They're lovely girls. And then it was like we got inside and it was a little overwhelming because everybody was just super, like everyone just started coming in. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And I did you just see like people who are in Star Wars like walking around the halls, and I'm like, oh my God, like that's Sam Witwer. Like that was crazy. So I got to meet Sam Witwer. I gave him like a friendship bracelet. I like talked to him for a little bit. I met some of the cast from Young Jedi Adventures. They were super sweet.
That's cool.
And it was like crazy because I was like in the theater like as we were watching it happen, and then I turn around like right when like they're about like it's about to start and whatever, and I'm like, I'm looking at these kids and I'm like, I think that's the cast of Young Jedi Adventures. And the entire time I was just thinking like, okay, I gotta like make sure I meet them outside the theater. I felt like such a stalker. And they were really sweet. I gave them all bracelets. They were really cool about it. I met Shelby Young, who does a lot of voice acting work. So she's awesome. She was so sweet. My sister got to meet D. Bradley Baker. He was there. And then there was also just like Gaten Matarazzo was there. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name. But the actual like Jedi Bob. I can't remember his name.
Bobby Moynihan.
Yes, Bobby Moynihan. So we got to see them. I didn't get to meet him. And then also Ahmed Best was there. That was really cool.
Awesome.
So yeah,
I need to meet Ahmed Best. That's one of my goals.
he seemed like super enthusiastic, like just to be there and to be back again as Jar Jar. And then also like both of the writers were there, and I believe the director as well. Yeah, they were all in attendance. So it was really cool. And then Rebuild the Galaxy I really enjoyed it. I honestly was just like, this is going to be a good, lighthearted project. So hopefully no one nitpicks it too much, because the entire purpose of it is to like retcon everything that you know. So I'm like, you can't complain if that's the intention of the project. And I just thought it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, but it did have some like sentimental moments. And then seeing it in the audience with like so many other individuals was like, it made it 10 times better, because you got to like laugh at all the same jokes and everyone's just like busting up. And it was a really fun project. So I really liked it. And they also kind of left it off at like a point where they could touch up on it again. So I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think I told the story last time we talked about it, but for me, at the very beginning of it, when he recaps the story of Star Wars and like it's about this cute kid named Anakin, he does all this stuff. And I thought that was really interesting because that's not my experience. That's a lot of people's experience, but my experience was Star Wars was Luke's story,
Right.
and about how he found out this was his father and saved him. And then, because I watched the special editions when they came out in theaters, and then when the prequels came out, we were like, okay, and then we went back to tell another story. And so it's funny because I'm from Jedi Bob's original universe, I think. In the whole story, it was just that how when someone finds it at a different time, they're gonna have a
Yeah.
different experience. Star Wars is gonna mean something different. I know people who started with the Clone Wars, and so Star Wars is about Ahsoka. You know what I mean? And how she deals with all the craziness. It's just so fascinating to me.
Yeah, I really like that perspective. That's really cool. I didn't think about it that way because I'm so used to like I'm a prequels kid, so like I'm so used to like him like saying like, oh, it's about Anakin and all this stuff. But yeah, that's really cool.
What I really liked the most about Rebuild the Galaxy was that it created a mythos around people who love Legos. Like
Yeah.
being like you don't have to be a Jedi, you don't have to be a Sith, but if you build Legos, you could be a Force builder. And I absolutely love that mythos. Like you don't do anything else, but you're like just kind of your whole shtick with the Force is fabrication. So like
Yeah.
when we're in the air and they're taking the parts and forming them into
that was so cool.
into A-wings or whatever. That's pretty awesome. And I just loved
You know what?
the continuity destruction of the entire premise of it. Which is why
Oh, sorry.
it's like which is why like Cat, can I call you Cat? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can call me Gati also, which might be harder. It's like
Gati?
Kati. Yeah.
When you said that they couldn't complain about it because that was the entire point of the project, that's something that I love too. And like whenever we got the takes where how is this so much better than the Acolyte? Those people, and I was like,
Yeah.
because you don't need your brain, and it's like and it reads like a junior novel. So what you're saying is you can't handle middle grade adult stuff. You just kind of like turn your brain off and look at pretty pictures, right? Lightsaber go burr.
They like it spelled out.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say you bringing up the Lego Builder as a power though, kind of partially answers my question. So one thing we talked about last week was if we got a Darth Rose Tico, which made me super happy, and so I was trying to figure out like what does an evil engineer do, like a dark side engineer? Like Darth Moment was a dark side architect, and he just wanted to like build evil buildings and stuff. And I can now picture like Rose constantly taking apart like your ship to make it like meaner or more dangerous or something like that. That's what I want to see.
I imagine like the antagonist or the foil to Ram Jomaran.
Yeah.
Like, man, I just fixed this speeder. It's working immaculately. And Darth Rose Tico comes out and goes and just kind of like short circuits like the power coupling. Just pulled that out of my butt. But that's how I imagine it. But
What did you think of Darth Jar Jar?
Okay, I loved him. I was like, he's like just all the lines that he had. I'm here for Darth Jar Jar, and I think also the promotional poster that they had, where it was just him standing in front of like Darth Vader's shadow, just like the original prequel poster with Anakin. I was super into it, like just the whole like Misa going to hurt you some, like yeah, like this is biblical. Like I feel like this feels right.
I think for the most part
he did like a reverse golem.
I think that's such a great way of describing him too, because like I think throughout the years I've come to just love Jar Jar. Like I was part of the crowd that didn't like Jar Jar. I wasn't a hater. I was just like, oh, this guy's silly. But
Yeah.
like the Clone Wars is actually like, he just makes me laugh, and and that's his whole shtick, right? And so
Yeah.
that Darth
didn't
Jar Jar
like
was
him.
crazy.
I didn't like him until Clone Wars season 6.
My God.
Was that season 6, or was that when he goes on the adventure with Mace?
Yeah,
And at the end, he runs up and he like punches that kid in the face. And I was like, okay, like he's got wrists, he's got hands, like all right, Jar Jar. So that gave me some respect. That, and I also cried a little when I watched Ahmed Best come out. It was Star Wars Celebration in Chicago. Was his first appearance since everything. Since
Wow.
I mean, dude almost tried to take his life, because of the hate that this character got, and now he's got a resurgence, and he started crying, and then I'm watching it on YouTube.
when I started crying.
Yeah.
I think I forget which episode, which season it was, but he goes with Padme to as like an attaché to the Rhodian government, and they missed, because he's like wearing a robe, they mistake him for a Jedi escort. So he's a
Bomb-bad
bomb-bad Jedi. And everything was like everything goes his way. That's why everybody thinks that he's Force sensitive when we were growing up, because like he'll like stumble upon like a battle droid's rifle and it just ends up shooting out a whole entire platoon. He's just the Force clumsy person. Like everything happens clumsily, but it's to the will of the Force.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. Okay. Real talk though. I was never a Darth Jar Jar like I really believed it. But there are literally scenes in the Phantom Menace where he is mouthing words that someone else is saying. And you're like, why is he doing that? This is literally like the first CG character. That meant someone actually animated that little second thing. Why? Why is that there?
They started the theory.
And
They were like, I gotta put people onto this.
Wasn't his face mocapped?
no.
I actually don't know.
I feel like that would have been him just kind of like mouthing other people's lines just to stay on script, and they forgot to delete those keys.
No, there was. I don't think the technology to mocap a face existed at that point in time. But I remember the videos of just
Him wearing
his
the
face
thing.
with a head on
Yeah.
top. Yeah.
No, the moment I knew who his Darksider was when he said "pretty hot." I mean, in context, it's kind of Darksider.
It's a weird thing to say to a child. Yeah.
Yes. But what are your top 5 Star Wars movies and your top
Okay.
5 Star Wars shows? It could be a mix between live action or animation.
God, do they have to be in order?
Yes.
Okay. And I was just thinking about this the other day. Okay, 5 for movies. Oh God. Oh God. Like if I have to think of all 5, oh God. Because I really like the prequels.
No order.
I'm gonna
No
do-
order. Just name like your top 5 then.
Okay, we'll put in Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, Revenge of the Sith has got to be in there. It's got to be in
Okay.
there. I'm gonna do Return of the Jedi, Rogue One,
So
The Force Awakens. Actually, I'm gonna put in The Force
Okay.
Awakens.
respect.
I think it had a really great start. It really, like, seeing that in theaters, like that was probably, like, besides Rogue One, like the first like Skywalker film that I like saw in theaters, and I was like, God, that was like such an experience. It was like midnight premiere. And then I need one more. Oh God. Why do I kind of want to do Attack of the Clones? I guess today I'll say Attack of the Clones. Because I'm a clone girly. I gotta put it in there.
That's your top 5 seems to be the underrepresented or the underrated.
I feel like that might, yeah. That might
Because I
just be.
feel like a lot of people underrate The Force Awakens. I feel like The Force Awakens was the most Star Wars of the sequels,
Mhm.
but it was also the safest, which is why I love The Last Jedi, because it had taken so many
Yeah.
bold story risks. Rogue One just keeps on climbing my list because every single time
It's
I
so
watch
good.
it's a different take. So I love that. I love that list.
Thank you. Oh my God. I was like curating it. A little stressful.
Brooke would appreciate the Attack of the Clones shout out, wouldn't she?
I like, as a clone girly, like I gotta put it in there. I have to.
Yeah.
I actually instantly respect anyone who has Attack of the Clones like as one of their favorites, just because like you've had a hard time in the fandom. You know what I mean? Like it means you're tough. It means you stick with it. You know,
Fighting for my life out here.
I mean, like there's two moments in the Attack of the Clones that make it better than the Phantom Menace for me. And in my case, I love to excuse me. In my case, I love to rank or list my tops in threes because they're different trilogies, different stories. I can't really kind of like do apples to apples with them. And so my top from each trilogy is The Last Jedi, Empire, and Revenge. And then next would be Attack of the Clones, Return of the Jedi, and The Force Awakens. And
Nice.
then the next is the other three. But I put Attack of the Clones in on the top there for Yoda, because he's my favorite character. It's
Okay.
First time we see him fight. And when he when he schools Dooku, I was like so happy. And when he started flipping around, I was just like, yeah, I knew it. This is how he fights. He can't go from
Just a small guy going everywhere.
yeah, you can't go from him teaching Luke how to flip through the jungle to not that, because in continuity, that training comes from somewhere, and Yoda does it.
Yeah.
He flips
Yeah.
through the jungles. And then the Petroneki Arena battle, that was intense. I
Yeah.
love that scene because of Coleman Trevor. Just kidding, Mace Windu.
And also I have a weird love for Dexter Jetster. I just love him so much. He's one of the greatest characters of all time. That's the happiest you see Obi-Wan in all of Star Wars, is when he walks in and sees Dex. I'm telling you.
It kind of is though. He like doesn't
Is it?
smile ever. I mean, he's a very serious man.
Yeah, but he had a big spot, Dex, and then like came over and gave him a hug. Like when you've never seen Obi-Wan do that with anyone except Dex. That's all I'm saying.
No, Child Leia at the very end.
Okay, yeah.
Ah, yes, that's true. Up until that point, 'cause that happens
For a long time, it held the record.
I was trying,
and
to
it's
think
only
of it.
because she reminds him of Dex.
Oh yeah, that
It's all a
makes
reminder.
sense. And you're,
that and Obi-Wan also having a half of the time a super fake beard, because he had to shave it off at one point, and in some scenes he just looks really funny. Yeah.
has your top 5 shifted at all, Chaco?
Not really. I mean, well, I guess that the top 3 remain solid, and like, so I really do love The Force Awakens as well, but I think it is, like Pep said, it is the most Star Wars. Like, it's Star Wars making it extra Star Wars. It's like
Yeah.
the Star Wars filled Hot Pocket with the Star Wars shell.
They're like, we have to have all the
so-
elements.
We're home.
So I just keep that in the middle of my list because I feel like it's like a
Yeah.
barometer, so to speak. But I mean, my top 3 still haven't changed. It's Last Jedi, followed by Empire, followed by Return of the Jedi.
Nice.
But oddly enough, I still think of myself as a prequel kid.
Okay.
And I think it might be because of the expansions we got elsewhere. I think it might be because some of the films, like both Empire and The Last Jedi, are hearty, you know? And so sometimes you're not in the mood to sit down in that. You'd rather sit down and turn on something that's a little simpler, a little more fun, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, watching the other ones more often. So I don't know. But those top three are kind of stay at the top of mine.
Okay.
I almost never hear anyone say A New Hope. Poor New Hope. Very rarely do I ever hear anyone mention it.
Where is it on your list? Is it just outside the five?
That's Chase's number one, right?
It's probably in the lower half also. But it's probably.
I feel like so it's near the bottom for me, along with the Phantom Menace. I feel like, and that's to say,
You still like Tatooine.
I hate sand.
that could be true, even though I tried to recreate the binary sunset in Outlaws.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like A New Hope. It's a crawl for me, because I think we spend about like 30 minutes following C-3PO and R2-D2 in the Dune Sea, and
George wanted it longer.
yeah. But I feel like those setup movies, even though they have like their own ending, because it's so strange how A New Hope and The Phantom Menace both have like a setup for the larger narrative, but end as if the whole thing has been decided. So like in A New Hope, like they blow up the Death Star, but that's not the end of the Empire, and it goes on for another 2 movies.
Right.
But at the end of that, there's a medal ceremony where it's like, yay, they finally won. Things are peachy in the galaxy again. And then in The Phantom Menace, it's just this kind of conflict between the Trade Federation and Naboo. But like the Clone Wars are about to happen, and there's this larger kind of narrative that's being built up. But at the end of that, there's this whole celebration on Naboo, and like it just feels like they've achieved total victory. Now that I think about it, they're the same movie.
Well, now that you put it that way, I'm kind of like, well, yes, a lot of world building. They're like, we're making one good movie to set up great movies. Like it's,
yeah. What about your TV shows? Live action and animation.
I know number 1 is Bad Batch, top of my list forever. I'm a Bad Batcher. And then somehow out of order, it's going to be Rebels, Clone Wars, Andor, and The Mandalorian. I think that's, yeah. I feel like some of those are nostalgia.
Was your entry into Star Wars Bad Batch or TV show?
For a TV show, it was The Mandalorian. I mean, I would see Clone Wars happening sometimes when I was like flipping through channels, and I'd like catch little bits here and there. But I got
channels.
Yeah, back in the day.
God, I forgot about that.
I was surfing the channels, and it would just be like Cartoon Network, Clone Wars. My sisters would sometimes have it on, and I'd be like, "Okay, this is cool."
Put it on channel 50 for the TV guide.
Yeah.
You remember the days of like coming into something in the middle, and you're like, I don't know what happened at the beginning, but it's cool. You know, like
I'm gonna stick it out.
It's not a thing anymore.
So, you said you were a Bad Batch girl forever.
Forever, yeah.
Can you confidently say that?
Yeah.
If like a TV show in the next 3 years came out and it was called Omega.
But the thing is like the Bad Batch was like, it means so much to me, just with like the experience I had. That was like my intro to like making videos. And I feel like for so much, I feel like just the nostalgia factor of it, like so how much it meant to me, like getting my start of just feeling confident enough to like talk about Star Wars. Like I just remember this feeling I would get like each week waiting for the next episode. I would like have a like nervous pit in my stomach. I'm like, guys, this episode's gonna be crazy, and it's like 20 minutes long, and I'm like, we did so much. Like it was just crazy. But God, yeah, the Bad Batch.
For me, that's got to be the High Republic, because that really is what started everything. I had just started making videos, and just talking about Star Wars in general, something I had planned to do online forever. And then we started. That kind of started with the podcast and hosting a podcast and reaching out to people, and plus we were all indoors with COVID. We just had so many good memories of the early days of like, because it really felt like the wild west, where we didn't know what was going to happen in the stories, but we also didn't know what was happening in real life too, and we randomly get DM'd by someone from Lucasfilm like, hey, we want to send you the next book.
That's so cool.
And then like it started the excitement from that. And yeah, early day when Daniel Jose Older joined TikTok, and I noticed he was responding to every comment at the very beginning, and so I was like, hey man, can we interview you? And he's like, I should probably ask my publicist, but whatever. Yeah, let's do it. And like
so
that was
cool.
that was our first entry into that, and we've been able to remain friends with him. And I don't know,
Awesome.
it's just like a special time for us.
Yeah.
It's-
I like that there's like a specific project sometimes that really just means so much to people. It's really cool.
Have you jumped into the books at all?
No, but I have one. I have, and I don't know which one it is, but it's one of the High Republic novels. The only other novel I've read is Ahsoka. But they like Star Wars like sent it to me, and it's like one of it. So I'm like, I feel like it's out of order. Like I'm like, I got to start in the beginning and then work my way to the middle book, and then like keep, yeah.
Which one is
It's a
it?
little daunting. I can't even remember. I don't even. Let me see. I might be able to find out. Hold on. But I feel like it's one. It's one of the later books. So now I'm kind of like, oh boy.
I'm gonna call it Temptation of the Force.
I think it is that one. Now that you say it, I'm like, I think that's the one it is.
If it's the latest one, yeah. One
Then
of
I
the
think,
latest
yeah.
ones.
It must be that one, yeah.
Yeah, you got a lot. You got a whole backlog ahead of you.
I know. I had someone explain this to me. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that's a whole series before I get to, because I know there's like the different periods and then it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, luckily,
from
there's
what
only...
you've talked about, you feel like you'd be a High Republic person as well.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna highly recommend that to you.
I want to get on it.
And have you tried audiobooks?
People tell me that's the key to these. The High Republic.
Audiobooks
I'm like, just
have
put it
3x.
on.
I'm telling you, they have sound effects, they got the voices and stuff, and it's easy to lose yourself in it. And
Yeah.
for me personally, like he said, doing it on faster, I
Oh,
find a
that's smart.
I find a speed where, when you read, a lot of people actually are like reading the word out loud, but just in their head,
Mhm.
that's not needed. So you can find a sweet spot and have it go fast enough to where it feels like just information flowing in, and you're just like picturing it. And yeah, you should try it.
It's the
I'm
middle
actually-
ground between coherency and experience, because a lot of the sounds are also sped up too. Like when there's like a space battle.
Yeah, that's true.
Something just happened.
And
Yeah.
like when the book ends and it's like, and you're like, oh, yeah.
It's like a reward.
I'm actually going to recommend though that your first audiobook be the Revenge of the Sith novelization.
Okay.
That thing's never gonna die, is it?
Oh no, it'll make an audio.
Just gotta listen to it.
You don't even know. I will send it to you. I will send you.
But luckily, your journey through the High Republic doesn't have to be that in depth, because there's only 3 main books for each phase.
Okay.
So the first fave and phase is Light of the Jedi. Then you're going to go into the Rising Storm. And then Fallen Star. And those are like the big narrative set pieces of that phase, with all of the other books kind of giving you kind of some backstory, some ancillary story threads. And if you're interested in that, you know, one of them I recommend to everyone is A Test of Courage and that's Vernestra's debut.
Okay.
And Into the Dark by Claudia Gray. I can send these to you if you want as well.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm like missing out. Like everyone always talks about them. I'm like, guys, I'm not caught up in the lore.
Yeah, no,
Also,
just like how
it's going to be the safest place in the fandom as well.
That is
The people you want to avoid don't read books.
and just like how Chaco said, a lot of the clone girlies that we know, or just fans in general of the clones and Bad Batch, are High Republic fans. Like,
okay.
so it's kind of a weird correlation, but it still makes sense.
It's okay. All right. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. It's not weird. There's a reason why Jen Corbett could do Clone Wars, but Dave Filoni couldn't do Bad Batch. You know, when with the depth of character, and it's the same thing with the High Republic, is they bring in writers who have a breadth of different experience and and are able to capture all the inside stuff from the characters that make them so compelling. You know, it's the reason why you can watch the Bad Batch, you know, 5 of the same person, but they're also vibrant and different and deep. That's same thing.
Yeah. I gotta get on it. I have no excuses. Audiobooks.
We're gonna hold it against you if you don't.
Oh gosh.
Plus, you could be like the gym, walking or running, and like be transported to a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
I gotta
what.
do it.
I'll tell you what. A lot of people operate with well with deadlines.
No.
If you could block out a Friday in November
Okay.
to come onto the live show to talk about Light of the Jedi, then
I gotta get it done now.
we'll give you a cookie or something. But yeah, you have until the Friday of November, because we would love to talk to you about the High Republic as well.
All right, Light of the Jedi. I gotta do it.
And if you finish it sooner, let me know so then we can plan for that Friday to be Light of the Jedi and Rising Storm.
Oh boy. Yeah, I literally wrote it down, so like now I have to listen.
Additionally, it's not a bad time because people are, Sawyer's Discord server is also starting a book club.
Oh, okay.
And they're also talking Light of the Jedi right now. So that episode's going to come out. She's going to have us on to talk about it on the 15th or 16th.
15th.
But I think they're going to kind of continue in that route. So you also might be able to find some friends who are fresh with it as well to talk about it with.
Yeah.
And
oh my gosh.
If you read some of it before, when is Comic-Con?
Oh, my other light died. LA Comic-Con? Or
Yeah,
I'm like in the dark.
definitely want to bring you back on the live show so you can interact with the community and the chat as well. But in the interest of kind of giving you some sort of wrap-up experience with the Dyad and the Force, do you have any hot takes?
I thought of
Go for it.
Okay. I wanted to like Ahsoka. I really wanted to like enjoy it a lot, like and love it, but it's not up there for me. I liked it. It was like it was like a good watch, but I haven't rewatched it since it came out.
Is that a hot take, Chaco?
Is it? I don't
It
know.
might be. It depends on who you roll with. That's one I agree with. I agree with though, and it's one where it kind of the more I think about, I don't know.
It was I felt very disconnected from Rosario's portrayal of Ahsoka. And every week I gave it another chance, saying like, okay, maybe I'll warm up to it. By the end, I kind of got around to it, but it just felt a little cold to me. And then they obviously explained like the past with Sabine and everything that happened there. And like, it was, so then I kind of understood the disconnect a little bit because like she's endured countless amounts of trauma. But it just was hard for me to kind of relate them to the animated versions of these characters. So
Yeah. I can give you that.
So with that, I guess my hot take, I'm sure Pep already knows, but no, I think the Acolyte was infinitely better written than Ahsoka, because the Acolyte was all about show, don't tell, and if you paid attention, you would see everything you need, and you would know everyone's motivations. So if they changed their mind, you would understand why. And I felt like Ahsoka did the opposite, where things would happen, but it wasn't shown or really told, and we would just have to assume this is what happened in between there.
yeah.
For me, this is the dichotomy between the two. I put Ahsoka up on the very top from the context and the lens of someone who loves the lore, loves Force mythology, and the mysticism. And when you said like it has some of the stuff that it doesn't show you, you know, you kind of have to like dig deep for a lot of the stuff. And in terms of the Acolyte, it was written tremendously better, but it showed you everything, and it caused me to latch onto speculation, theory crafting a lot more. Like we talked about this when it was showing, like this show reignited theory crafting and thinking about all of these kind of threads that were dangling. And I still keep Ahsoka up there from that lens. But if I were to test the waters of Ahsoka against Andor and Acolyte and The Mandalorian, it probably wouldn't rank high. But I just love the world between worlds. I love the speculation of what Balin is chasing and where Ahsoka's story goes from there. So, you know, I can definitely see, and this is how intelligent conversations happen.
That simple. Yeah.
You
I'm
know?
excited for season 2 to see where they take it. I think now I'm a bit more accustomed to the way these characters are, and I almost have to like think of them as two different versions, because essentially they're at two different points in life, so they are different versions than what we've seen in like Rebels and stuff. But I'm excited. I do like that it's like a different type of show than Andor. It's like so fantasy in comparison to like the grounded realism of Andor. So it's easy.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me to kind of be like, okay, there's so many different facets of Star Wars that I'm like, it's just some shows are meant to be taken a bit more seriously. Others are like, you know, like I can have like a good fun watch here.
It also helps that Sabine is one of my favorite characters as well. I mean, I don't have any
I did
Funko
like
Pops
Natasha's portrayal.
except for Sabine.
I liked the way Sabine was portrayed. I think it was good. Shin was also a great addition.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're all stuck on the same planet, so we'll see how that goes. Just stranded there.
It's gonna be a party.
I better be.
Super random last thing, but is anyone watching Agatha all along?
Yes.
Yeah.
Super woke.
And what's funny is when she would try to first use her power, and she went like this, and I was like, the thread.
Witches are back.
I mean, yeah. Is the road just a divergence in the Force that they go into? Have you ever thought what's inside those space buttholes?
That's what I'm saying. It's just same exact thing as what happens on what's it called, Lothal.
Yes,
Except you don't have to ride a magic dog, you know.
but it's also what happens on Dagobah. Only what
Yeah.
you take with you. So their trials within the road is what Luke experiences. So it's all just one big universe, really. They're in the vergence of the Force right now, facing their own trials.
It's all a multiverse.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it for this conversation with Katarina Cruz. Did I say that correct?
Yeah, you got it.
We want to thank you for coming on and having this nice conversation with us. We will bring you back for sure on a Friday in November for the live portion of this, and we will discuss Light of the Jedi and hopefully Rising Storm and hopefully Fallen Star, depending on whether or not it's at 3x audiobook version.
It goes up to 3?
It goes up to 5, but I listen to 3x. I typically do 3x because I also love to do a double retention method, which is read and listen.
Okay.
And I cannot for the life of me read at the speed with which they they read it at like 1.5 or 2x. So I find myself staring at a word for like an extra second. I'm like, stop. Okay, yeah, just keep on going. Yeah. So I read and I have to have the audiobook playing at the same time. So that's how I do it. But yeah, hopefully we'll bring you back. No, we're going to bring you back for sure, but hopefully you have read some of, if not all of Phase 1. We're hoping for that one.
At least light of the Force?
Light of the Jedi.
Well, oh my God. Well, I'm gonna learn.
You haven't read it yet, so there's not points against you. It's not like you have the book in front of you. If you had the book in front of you and you said Light of the Force, I would have been like, quote unquote, true fan. Just kidding.
You don't deserve to call yourself that. Yeah, I have a Barnes & Noble gift card, so it's going to happen.
Awesome. Choco, do we have any final thoughts, final things to say for Kati?
Nope. Just once again, if you want to remind the good people where they can find you and your awesome content and follow your journeys.
Oh, I'm on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram under Katarina Cruz.
Awesome. Everyone go follow right away. We'll be back with the main show in just a few seconds. Hi, guys. We're back. Once again, thank you to Kati for joining us for that conversation. It was a blast. We'll be posting some clips of that conversation across TikTok and our socials. But yes, that'll do it for this episode of Dyad in the Force. Thanks to everyone on the Witch, the Red Play, and the Clock for tuning in. Base Guy, Darth Angel, Nick, Knock, Craig, Youngling, James Kenobi, Legacy of Naboo. Everyone who has been tuning in and with us since the beginning. We've largely ironed out all of the technical difficulties, so we will be simulcast across all major streaming platforms from this day forth. Choco, anything to say?
Henceforth, we shall be known as multi-streamers. No, that is all. Great conversation. I will have her back on for the live show, and we'll continue to bring all y'all on as well. Yeah, we'll keep doing it.
Also, we officially reached 15k likes, so therefore the Spicy Noodle Challenge live stream will be both of us. We will both have peanut butter, and we will both be doing Bulldog 3x spicy noodles. When that happens will be announced on our socials. We have to line up when we can do it, when I actually have to order some because I don't typically eat that. And yeah, join us.
No one typically eats that.
Join us on Tuesdays as well. Not us, but like on Tuesdays, Yoda's Hut is returning, and sometimes Choco will join me for that. It's just a just chatting stream where we can just hang out. But I figured going forward, I wanted to kind of make it an official schedule show. so that you guys know exactly when we go live. So Tuesdays is Yoda's Hut. We're just going to chat and hang out with you guys. And then Fridays at 5 p.m. always Dyad in the Force. But that's it. On to the next one.
For Light and for Life.
We are all clone girlies for life.
And may tech be with you. Always. In your arms.